Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, ironically, this is like the second day in a row I'm wearing a Wayne Gretzky jersey. It's a different one, obviously. But we're talking about some positiveness today instead of the negativity from last episode. The Edmonton Oilers have won 10 straight games. I made a video at some point around the middle of December talking about the Oilers winning 8 straight. Well, now they've won 10 straight. So, you can tell that since that loss on November 9th, I believe it was, somewhere around there. It was like the second week of November. The Oilers have been on an absolute tear ever since they fired Woodcroft. Even though I still think partially that may be the wrong move, still, they're playing very well under Chris Knobloch, and it's showing. So since the loss to San Jose, they are 21-6-0. So only 6 losses since November. That's pretty wild when you think about it. Especially too a very busy month of December. That's insane. That is a wild number to see. They are 23-15-1 now for 47 points. They are 17th in the NHL, so they are technically in the bottom 16. However, they are tied for the second wildcard spot, and they have 3 more games in hand on Seattle. I believe 4 now, actually, because Seattle's played a game today. So it's just, they have everything in their favor right now. They are playing well. The offense is great. The defense is great. The goaltending's great. Everything is really awesome right now during this 10-game winning streak in Edmonton, as 10-game winning streaks usually are when you just look at previous 10-game winning streaks. But anywho, they have scored 138 goals and have let in 117. That is, the goals against is a little bit higher than some of the other teams that they're facing. But obviously, like, they had their struggles at the start of the year, and that's what played a massive factor in why they just couldn't seem to win. And that was obviously goaltending. Jack Campbell's been sent down to the AHL. Skinner's been given some more time to really find his game, and he really has. He has much better stat numbers than he did at the start of the season. It's not like Vezina level numbers, but it's pretty good numbers considering where he was in November. As well as that too, they're 11-6-1 at home. I remember it took them a while to win their first home game. It took them quite a bit to get that first home win. And now they've just gone on an absolute hot streak in Edmonton, and it's great to see. They're 12-9 on the road too, so they're a very good road team. They've been on the road for a little bit. Now they're back at home, I believe, for the next couple of games. They have a 25.2 power play percentage, which obviously is no different than last year's. Last year's was awesome. This year's is still good. It's like, I believe, 6th or 7th in the NHL. Their penalty kill is also pretty solid, too. It's above average with a 75.56 penalty kill percentage, which is pretty solid, comparatively speaking, that people look at Edmonton as an offensive team. No, they have some pretty good PK abilities, too, with their overall roster. So definitely that plays a factor there, too, in their success. And I said so many times, and there was so much criticism in the media saying, oh, is McDavid going to leave? Is Draisaitl going to leave? Oh, what's going to happen with this team overall? I said in a lot of videos, even though I did speak in some of the criticism a little bit, if there wasn't one team that was going to come back from a 2-9 record to start the season, a team that was so far out of it, they were pretty much last place in the NHL, I knew it would be the Edmonton Oilers. Just with McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and the team they have, I can't see a world where they didn't come back from this. I couldn't. And I said it in videos. So we'll get into the leading scorers now. It's McDavid. McDavid leading the way. 37 games played, 16 goals, 41 assists for 57 points. So as you can tell there, McDavid has actually missed some games and is still 20 points ahead of everyone on his team. 57 points in 37 games played. He is 20 points above the point per game pace, which is crazy to see. We're going to see him hit 100 points this season for sure. We may even see 1,000 points. I put it in my milestones video at the end of 2023. I said that we could see Connor McDavid reach the 1,000 point mark, and it's very possible that that can still happen. Very possible, and I honestly think it will happen. Maybe not this season, but around the beginning of next season, the beginning of the 2024 calendar year. That's what I think is going to happen. Leon Draisaitl, second in scoring, 37 games played, 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points. Having a very good season as per usual. There's really not a whole lot to mention there with Draisaitl. Zach Hyman, though, is a guy I want to bring up. Hyman has 38 games played, 26 goals, 16 assists for 42 points. Hyman's been awesome. I'm shocked that he kind of got snubbed a little bit of the All-Star voting. I'm a little bit shocked at that fact. Because I think Hyman's done so well for the Oilers this year. He leads the team in scoring. I believe he's even top 3 in scoring in the NHL as well. He has just had an amazing season scoring-wise. He's scoring a lot of hat tricks, too. Like, he has 3, I think maybe even 4 hat tricks on the season. I believe it's 3, though. He's just been scoring at a really high pace. We could see him hit 40, 45 goals. Very possible there for a guy like Zach Hyman, who's been doing very solid. Evan Bouchard as well. Bouchard, 39 games played, 10 goals, 30 assists, 40 points. I will say this about Bouchard. Bouchard has played much better since the start of the season. The start of the year, there was a lot of criticism, and I did say some of that criticism a little bit. But I've always liked Bouchard. I've always thought he was a solid player, and it's good to see him doing well with the Oilers now. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is 5th in scoring. With 39 games played, 11 goals, 27 assists for 38 points. Nuge there, not playing the way he was playing last year, and we knew this was going to happen. We knew he wasn't going to score 115 points again, or 100-something points again. He was going to fall back down to earth, and this is probably where we're going to see him now. He's going to probably finish with about 65, 70, maybe even 75 points. It just depends on how he is good on the second half of the year, but this was pretty expected when you look at the Oilers and just overall Nugent-Hopkins' numbers. Other guys that I thought were contributing very well, Evander Kane, always been solid. Had some struggles at the start of the season, but picked it up much better towards this halfway point. And Warren Foegele, very hardworking, very solid player, always works hard, always gives effort every shift. Fogel's been one of my favorites for a very long time. I would love to see him win a Stanley Cup. So I hope that maybe we'll be able to see that eventually. But he's been one of my favorite players for a very long time. And then I want to go into the goaltending. As I mentioned earlier in this video and earlier on in the season too, because I feel like I've made so many Oilers-related videos. I think this is like my 5th one of the year. There have been a lot of Oilers-related videos this season, and there's going to be more. They just don't stop. Skinner. As I said at the start, there was a lot of struggles with Skinner and just his overall play, as there was with the whole team. But now that Skinner's playing better, as well as the entire team, things are looking very solid now for him. 29 games played, 18, 9-1, a 2.63 goals against average, and a .903 save percentage. And it's not the fact that, the team's playing well, so Skinner's playing well. No, I think Skinner's having himself a really solid bounce back from that start of the season, and I think that that's going to continue. I just don't see him really falling off from where they are now. Now, if the team starts losing again, then of course it may be a struggle a little bit, but obviously the start of the year was a little bit of a concern, but it looks like they may have found the goalie in Skinner. He just had a really rough start to the year, but obviously we will find out. I know there's going to be some comments that may disagree with that. There have been in the past, so I know that I am expecting that to come. Now, we move out of the player stats. I want to take a look at just this overall streak. I have them written down here, but game by game. It starts off with the back-to-back between the Devils and the Rangers. They win those games 6-3 and 4-3. Do you know how hard it is to go into Prudential Center, play a Devils team that, they aren't like what they were last year, but they're still a pretty damn good hockey team. You beat them by 3, then you go in. At that point, the Rangers were the best team in the NHL. You play them at home, and you win. That's pretty impressive. The California road trip, they obviously went 3-0, and I'm not really going to go into those games. They played Philadelphia. Philadelphia, really solid, hot team at that point when they were playing Edmonton. Yeah, they were coming off a loss, and they were exhausted from the road trip. But they beat Philly 5-2. They play Ottawa, 3-1 win there, obviously. Then they play Chicago, Detroit, Montreal. So not too difficult opponents there, but they were keeping it competitive with some overtime wins there. But still, You shouldn't criticize them for that whatsoever. Even though they do have one of the easier schedules in the NHL, their upcoming month and the upcoming rest of the month may be a little bit difficult for them. A tad bit, because it's hard to win. It's hard to win a lot of games in a row, let alone 10. And the Oilers accomplished that, but I think that maybe with this upcoming few games, it may slow them down a little bit. So you look at their upcoming games. They play Toronto to start off. They play Toronto tomorrow at the time of recording this video. That could be a really deciding game. If they win that, they win 11 straight. That could be the end of the winning streak right there. I'm not saying it will, but it could be. So definitely that's something I want to look at there, and it will be a fun game to watch. Two teams that definitely need the points. Seattle, that's a big game for both teams. Both teams are playing very well. Seattle did lose today, so their point streak and win streak is over. But still, they're a very good team, and I expect for it to be a very fun game. Then they play Calgary. They're rivals, obviously. And Calgary, as I mentioned in yesterday's video with the Kings, is not far behind the Oilers either, I believe by only 2 points. So they're going to need the points there too. Then they play Columbus and Chicago. Should be easier opponents. The Oilers should beat those teams. And then they play Nashville to end out the month of January, and I believe they go into the All-Star break then. So interesting schedule. As I said, maybe some of these games could be trap games, or some of these games could maybe slow them down a little bit. But the Oilers, even though they're in a wild card spot, they still need these points. You want to gain some ground on the Kings and the Knights and the Canucks. You want to gain some ground on those teams and get yourself at a really comfortable spot in the wild card race, because you don't want to fall behind too quickly. And that's what LA is doing right now. You don't want to lose a lot in the row where you fall behind a lot. LA could be a victim of that, but obviously this is an Edmonton video. So one more thing I want to bring up is, what could the trade deadline look like? I'm going to make a long series of videos in the month of February talking about the trade deadline. It's going to be like deadline month, more or less. All I'm going to do is talk about deadline stuff. I will make a video on just the Oilers alone, but I do want to bring it up briefly here now. I think that things that the Oilers could be looking at is obviously maybe another goaltender. You might not want to change it up. Maybe you want to keep Skinner and Pickard, but that depends on if you are have a lot of faith in Skinner and Pickard. It really depends on how you believe in that. If they get one more defenseman, I think that they have a solid blue line. I think the blue line's already okay. I think it gets a lot of criticism, more than it deserves. But I definitely think maybe one more guy added could help out the team, and then maybe some depth forwards. That never helps with a team like Edmonton. Never doesn't help with a team like Edmonton. Because you want to get secondary scoring on the roster, and that's what Edmonton probably will need. And then, I mean, like, they want to move Broberg. You maybe want to move the Jack Campbell contract, because you don't have a whole lot of cap space either. So I've seen some speculation about that, but haven't seen too much. The trade market's been kind of quiet. We're still waiting for that one move that really sets the market. That could happen today. That could happen tomorrow. Who knows? But still, we're still waiting for that. But yeah, the Oilers, they've won 10 straight games. They're in a very good spot, and we'll see how many games it goes. But anywho, that'll do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Hit that subscribe button down below. I greatly appreciate it. We've been talking about Pacific Division teams for the past couple of videos here now. I may make a Kraken video tomorrow. Haven't really decided yet, but we'll find out. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.